Hello and welcome back to the game room. Well, for my fourth video this week, we are going to be talking about the Sea of Stars demo, the latest game from the people who brought you The Messenger. The Messenger is one of my favorite games of recent memory, so I was very much looking forward to this game. I did kickstart it because it looked like an old school RPG in that 16-ish bit style, so I was looking forward to trying it. Now the demo, I'm gonna be honest here. I don't think the demo did this game many favors. I think it was a very poorly constructed demo. It does a bad job of familiarizing you with the game, as well as it tries to be the zaniness that was a nice tangent and a nice addition to the Messenger in my opinion. But it almost puts that full focus without really giving you what you want, which for me in these older games was, let's get to the combat. You start off, you're on a mountaintop. You can pick between either of the main characters, which it doesn't really seem like it matters because it says later on you can switch this option. And you just are traversing down a mountainside. It introduces you quickly that you can climb up stuff. You have a weird blow ability, but the enemy, like, I'm not getting into any fights. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not sure what's going on. You have 3 party members. You have a guy named Gus, and then the 2 characters whose names I can't remember. I'll call them the Moon and the Sun. I'm guessing that's what it's supposed to be. One's the sun power, one's moon powered. Your mana regen comes from combat. So you get into one fight. So I managed to get into one fight, but it just kind of throws you into it. You'll see tickers over the enemies, but it doesn't really do a good job of telling you when it's your turn versus when it's their turn versus what you can expect to come next. So I don't know if something where they have a turn order showing would be helpful, because then there's a thing where they do this roulette slot machine where it shows different attack animations above the heads. I eventually figured out that meant, oh, if you hit them with that I think you insta-kill them or you at least break them, but usually you don't have enough turns to get to that. And then as you're fighting, you build a combo meter, which allows you to do combos with the other characters, kind of a la Chrono Trigger, but not reliant on. So it's something that you have to build in a fight. You can't just jump into a fight and do a combo move, which I get because the combo moves get a little overpowered, but that's also kind of the fun. So if you mean to tell me that I have to do these middling attacks before I can do a combo, okay, whatever. But that was it. There was one fight, and then you're transported into a tavern where you're talking to these pirates, and then you have this dude who rips his shirt off and becomes super buff and throws your guy through a table, and then you're told you have to go get a coin. Now, I don't know if it's because I just wasn't paying attention, but I didn't know where to go. So then I spent maybe 10 minutes wandering around this town, looking through all the different facets, finding the inn where you can sleep at night and repower and all that. And eventually I finally found a way out of it, and you go to a world map, which gives you the option to go one of 2 ways, and another thing that showed fishing, which I wasn't interested in the fishing. And all the far right, you find an area where this dude with 2 eye patches opens up a place and then gets one. Like, it's all a little much, in my opinion. Like, everything is so tongue-in-cheek silly. I'm not saying it has to be super serious, but it felt a little bit like Owlboy for me, which I'm not a fan of Owlboy. And I don't know why I was getting that vibe, but either from the art style or from how it was playing out, it just was not appealing to me. It just was not. So we get into this dungeon area, and finally in the dungeon area, I'm starting to see what this game actually could be. So you can blow blocks away with your hand ability, and that allows you to climb through different areas in the dungeon. And then you do this thing where you're placing crystals. You have 3 different color crystals eventually that then allow you to get to different areas. So like you have a blue portal, you go to the blue section, green to the green. That was fun. Like, this was actually I think this was very strong and very promising for the game, and this is where you finally get to the heart of the combat, where after a while I started getting used to it, but still the enemies hit very, very hard, as well as you seem limited by your lack of mana to do anything, especially when they get the roulette thing over there, or the slot machine over their head, and they're telling you have to do this. But if you just took your turn with your guy, you may not get your turn again to do that before they've gone. And there's this mechanic where after one of your allies falls in battle, after about 1 or 2 turns, they are revived. And I don't know if that's a normal thing, if that's what the game's based around, but I'm not a fan of losing turns. I guess that's what I'll say. I'm not a fan of losing turns, and I feel like this game is going to be centered around the fact that the fights are going to be so tough that you have your guys dying, and that's why they resurrect. I don't know if that was a demo decision they made. If it's not, holy hell, this game is hard. But especially you get to the end boss of this dungeon, and I had 2/3 of my team dead almost the entire match, and I have felt myself chugging consumables to stay alive. And it's not even like I was doing anything wrong, it's just that's how hard it is. And there's a timed element to the combat that I didn't really feel I was hitting. So I don't know if they need to add an indicator where your guy flashes right before it hits it or what, but it didn't seem like I didn't know if I was actually doing the damage, doing the double damage. And then there's also a timed element for blocking, much like Mario RPG, but you go from taking, let's say, 14 damage to 12. It doesn't feel very noticeable. So I'm blocking all these attacks, I'm doing all this other stuff, and it felt like it bogged down the combat and I wasn't enjoying it. Which really has me upset, because I was looking forward to Sea of Stars, and after this demo, I'm not. So, kind of the wrong impression for this. I'm hoping that this is just a bad demo. I mean, it wasn't very long. It really was just that opening section and then a small dungeon section with that weird town interlude. But yeah, I'm on the fence about it now. I mean, I've already paid for it, so we'll see what I think when I get it. I will end up playing it, but yeah, I was very disappointed. So let me know what you guys thought if you played the demo. Honestly, I'd tell you to skip it. If you're looking for a Chrono Trigger like this seems like someone that is trying to take. They took what made Chrono Trigger work, but then they messed it up. That's what it is. They messed it up. Anyways, it's been so nice getting a hold of you guys. Take care.